Hello and welcome to another episode of Chocolate Plus. My name is Mark, aka the Great British Chocolatier, and today we are going to be making some pecan turtles, but we're going to be wrapping them in pretzel rods, and hopefully I won't forget anything like I did last week. I forget to do the famous red plate. I don't know. It's what happens when you don't do a video after a while. Okay, we're going to be using dark chocolate here, and as you know, we're using our new chocolate, the Melt Craft chocolate. We have a parchment paper, a baking tray underneath, and of course we got our vinyl gloves here. And we're going to spruce it up a bit. We're going to need pumpkin spice in our caramel. So let's push this to the side. We have a 5-pound block here, and we're going to be using 6 ounces of caramel here from our block. And let's get started straight away. Of course, you don't need a 5-pound block of caramel. You can just buy those bags in the store, those little marble, you know, the beads. Okay, this is 10 ounces. We want 6 ounces. So the reason why I want 6 ounces is because it requires half a teaspoon of not half a teaspoon. We need a teaspoon of this stuff. So let's put this to the side, and we're gonna 30 seconds on the clock, and put our candy wafers in here, and pecans. I'm all over the place. Pecans, and we got one of these which chops up. Got already chopped. I bought chopped, but I want them a little bit more chopped. You can buy half pecans, you can buy whole pecans, and put them in one of these things that chops them up. All right. First go round. It mounts it. It's a little lot in there, so you don't really want your fingers in there. As he sticks his finger in there. So, ouch. All right. I'm going to put 15 seconds on the clock, and then I thought about doing it 2 different ways. Is either mixing the pecans in with the caramel. I'll see, because I just want this nice and melted, and we want half a teaspoon in here. I mean, not half. We want a whole teaspoon in here, and of course that don't fit in there. So I've got a small spoon, and let's just say that was a teaspoon. Of course, if you've got a measuring spoon, that's good to do. Just use this well. And you're just going to mix it in like so. I have never made these before with pumpkin spice. I've did caramel. I have done caramel with the pretzel rod, where we wrap it down the pretzel rod. That's in the video somewhere, and that's pretty much what I'm going to do right now. So, and the caramel does get a little darker, and right now that's pretty warm to the touch, and I want it to be a little bit firmer, so I'm gonna let that cool down and put this to the side. Let's put some pecans in here. And we're just going to post, if I can find this of it. I should know where my I'm all over the place. Alright, stick it into the plug right here. I don't know if I'm camera shot. And we're just going to pulse it, which means you're not going to let it run forever. You're just going to do that. Because we want to cut up a little bit more. And we don't want to turn it into a powder. Like so. And you're probably thinking now, does this guy know what he's doing? Yes, I do. It's just that sometimes I make things that I haven't quite made exactly this way before. And I like to show you as I do it, because if I make a mistake, you don't have to. And also, if you've not ever made anything with chocolate before, you might be a little bit nervous. But this really is something that you can do in your home. This is still a little bit hot and warm, which means it's not going to roll out like I want to. So we're going to wait for that to cool down. I need, if I do it a different way, I'm going to need these in here. And I'm going to put this on pause right now. Because I want to make sure this is not too hot, because I want it to be a little bit more firm so we can wrap it down the pretzel rod. And then I was thinking of pressing it into here and then covering it in chocolate. So let me wait. I'll be back. Don't go anywhere. Alright, I'm back. We waited a few minutes. It's about still 137 degrees Fahrenheit, but I kind of want it soft, not too soft, because I want to dip it in here. I got new parchment paper. I bought brown instead of white, but it's all good. Alright, so the plan here is to take a small ball of the caramel, and then we're going to roll it. Let's see, we probably need, well, it's still soft, and we're just going to roll it out thin, he says, as he's not doing a good job because it's probably still too warm. And you want to try and get it as even as you can, and because this is soft, I'm going to go for it. Alright. The whole idea of this is to not do a better job than what I'm doing here, and we're just going to roll it down in a spiral effect all the way down the pretzel rod. This is why you see that it'd be easier to work with, not so warm. This is my experiment here. I'm going to roll it down like so, and what we are going to do after this, and I've already remembered I've forgotten something, and we're going to go down to leave like about an inch at the bottom, so it doesn't look too neat. But what we're going to do, as I put this in the microwave, 3 rounds, 30 seconds, and I'm just going to press in the pecans if they stick here. If not, then I'll do plan 2. Like I said, why am I doing this? I'm doing this so that you don't make these mistakes. If they ended up being mistakes, I don't know. You want to get as much covered as possible. Now what it looks like is some of it stuck, some of it didn't. Most of the powder did. Okay, round 1, not a lot of melting. Stir it around anyway. because you want to distribute that heat. Alright, so here I'm pressing the pecans into the caramel, and hopefully it'll all stay on when I put the chocolate on it, and if it doesn't, then we do it the other way around. Alright, round 2. What I find with this chocolate, sometimes it needs like 15 seconds more on the 3rd round. So, round 3, here we go. 36. If I could speed this up, I would. But as you know, I don't have a computer to use my program, so I'm doing everything on my phone. And the fast forward feature that this thing has only speeds it up 10 times faster, and it's not really that fast at all. So here we have our pecan covered caramel, and hopefully it won't all fall off with the chocolate. So here we go, round 3, and as you see now, it's mostly melted. A few lumps in there, which should come out with stirring. If you find it's not doing that, then you can stick it back in the microwave for another 10 seconds. You could do 15, but I'll start with 10 because you know you don't want to overheat the chocolate. But as you see, a lot of those lumps are disappearing as we go. Now 94.6. You don't really need this for candy chocolate because you don't need to temper the chocolate. You know, this is chocolate that had the cocoa butter taken out and replaced with a vegetable oil, and you just need to keep stirring. If you find it's still a little thick, you can add in a it's called Cusco, which is like a hardened like shortening, a vegetable oil, which you could add in here just to thin it out a tiny bit, you know. So okay, I'm happy with what we got here. It's still not really, see, it should be streaming down, and that means it could be too hot, but it should be looser than that. So but we're going to work with what we've got. Okay, so fingers and thumbs. I need something to. You should have been prepared. This will work. Okay, we're getting there. All right, we've got our chocolate melted, and we're simply going to cover the whole thing gently. And I usually tap down the pretzel, but because I've got the everything on there, I don't want to knock it all off. But there you go. I'm going to shake that off what I can, and making sure that I cover all the nooks and crannies. And then this is how I do it when I do pretzels. And if holes open up, we've got to cover them. You might say, well, that seems like a lot of work, but it's going to taste good. So there you go. Nice chunky piece of chocolate there, and you simply just lay it down like that, and it will give it a flat edge. All right, now of course the caramel has cooled down quite a lot now, so let's do another one. And you've got the saltiness of the pretzel, You've got the pumpkin spice in the sweet caramel, which is already a good combination. And then you're just going to wind it down as best as you can. And it's going to get covered up by the chocolate. So, and as much caramel as what you want. Everything is dependent on how much caramel you use, obviously. So I can't say 6 ounces is going to make this much, because it might not when you do it. Because as you can see, there's quite a lot of caramel on this one, which is good. And I broke my glove, so let's change that. Oh boy. One thing about when I make chocolate and you make mistakes, sometimes it's a good mistake. Sometimes, see, I broke the glove again, but I'm just going to work with that right now. I'm just simply going to press. And now I broke the pretzel. Let me shut off. I'll get myself resorted and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back again. Okay, I think what I did now, I put the pecans inside of the caramel. So this way, it's all going to be in there. And what we're going to do with this now is take a piece off, and we're going to roll it out as thin as we can with the caramel now infused into the pretzel. And now also with the pretzel rods, you got to be gentle, because like you just saw, I completely just broke one in half. So same process. Going to do it this way. I'm trying to do it left-handed because of the camera, but you're going to wrap it around, like I said, as best as you can down the pretzel rod, like so, in a spiral effect. And then try and be a little bit as thin as you can, but if not, I wouldn't worry about that either. I'm definitely on the camera shot. Alright. So that's a bit too much right there. Okay, so there we go. We have our pecan infused pretzels, caramel, chocolate, and let's cover this thing in chocolate. Now some time has gone by and the chocolate's got more firmer, but you're just going to ease it down like so. Now of course what you can just do is just put the caramel on around the pretzel and then cover the pretzel rod in pecans, doing it that way. I'm going to put this in the microwave for a little tiny bit. Maybe 15 seconds because it got a little firm. We're going to do this. We're going to get through this. It's not that difficult. I just made it look difficult. All right. There we go. So 15 seconds made it much more pliable, and it's a little warm. Oh, it's hot. In fact, maybe 10 seconds would have been good. All right. So pretzel rod, weaving it down in a spiral shape as best as you can. And I'm not, at this point, I'm not going to stress it because there's no stress in making chocolate. There you go. And then we're going to wrap this in chocolate, like so. Now that the caramel's warm, it can also work against us. As you see, I'm tapping as I'm going with the chocolate that's now cooler. And so there we have it. We made 3, and what you can do, which is probably what was sensible to do in the first place, was sprinkle the pecan on top. And this is what a lot of people do when they make pecan pretzels. You wrap it like that. So there we go. So that if you prefer doing it that way, by all means do it that way. I just wanted to contain everything inside under the chocolate because it keeps the pecans a little bit more fresher. And then with this, like I said, it's 1, 2, 3. Take out a small ball and then roll it out as best as you can and wrap it around the pretzel rod like so. And these are going to taste absolutely delicious because we got caramel, we got pumpkin spice, we got pecans, and you might want to let them cool off a little bit before you make another one, or if you're like, I'm done with this, I'm just going to make some pecan balls, and then you can just dip them in the chocolate like so. And we can do that too. Chocolate's firmed up a lot. And then you put this back in the microwave. What is going on? Alright, I'm back. I ended up making these pecan caramel balls, pumpkin spice caramel turtle balls. Roll it into a little ball. So I think this is probably going to be the grate that came out of a mistake. So here we go. I made another one. So we have our pecan turtle pretzels and our pecan turtle pumpkin spice. This goes into the fridge for about 5-10 minutes. When they're done, we clean up this mess and we'll give it a taste test. So I'll be right back. Okay, we are back. We have our pretzel turtle rods with pumpkin spice. We had a bit of a learning curve, and as you can see, we started having the pecans inside the chocolate, and then we made some with the pecans inside and outside, and I think these look pretty impressive. Things to learn is to the caramel definitely needs to be less warm when I wrap it down the pretzel rod. So I ended up stopping and I made these things. Now these might be one of those amazing accidental mistakes that taste absolutely amazing. This is the pumpkin spice caramel turtle bite. Obviously I made them a little smaller because we want them to be bite size. So I'm going to taste these first. This is pumpkin spice caramel with pecans inside it. And oh my god, absolutely delicious. The caramel, the pumpkin spice really pops, and the pecans that are in there give it a slight soft crunch. Now I'll be chewing it for hours. But before I go any further, can't forget our famous red plate, which we have right here, the return of the famous red plate. So we made some mistakes, but we learned from them. And let's put all these on here. I am definitely going to perfect this method. But there we have it. We have our pumpkin spiced pecan turtle pretzel rods and our pecan caramel pumpkin spice bites here. So I think these look prettier with them on the outside. Of course you can decorate them however you like, but these will look better. They're just not going to last as long because their peanuts are on the pecans on the outside. Well, there we go. We have our pumpkin spice turtle pretzel rods, and we have our bites. We have our pecans on the outside and on the inside. Gonna taste absolutely delicious. In fact, let me try one right now. Wow. You know, the surprise is the caramel and the pumpkin spice in the caramel. It's subtle, but that is one absolutely delicious bite. So there we have it. I hope you enjoyed it. Made a few mistakes on the way, but we got through it. You can make these at home. And that's what I am. So experiment. Tell me what you did. Show me what you did. And you get caramel stuck everywhere. Well, that's all we got time for today. If you'd like to hit that thumbs up button, if you haven't yet, chocolatize that subscribe button and hit that notification bell, which will let you know every time a new video has been uploaded. So we're entering Choctober next week, so we're gonna have a whole new level of chocolate treats because we've got Halloween coming, we've got Thanksgiving in November, and of course Christmas in December with New Year. So whole lot more tasty treats to come. So thank you for watching. Until next time, have a great day. Bye bye.